What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Game Day with Trey. Of course, this is your host, Trey. And today, we're going to talk about this NFL Thursday night matchup between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. All right, so this game will be played Thursday night, November 21st, 8:15 p.m. is kickoff time. The line is currently Cleveland plus 3.5. Over-under is set at 36.5. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take a quick look into this matchup and how these two teams have fared in the past. All right, so last time they met was November 19th, 2023. Score was Pittsburgh 10, Cleveland 13. Though the Steelers are well on their way to an NFC or AFC North title, Pittsburgh quarterback Russell Wilson realizes there is plenty of work to do. Wilson is starting to feel like he might be part of something special as the Steelers prepare for a meeting with the host, Cleveland Browns, on Thursday night. But he also doesn't want Pittsburgh to get ahead of itself. I definitely think that we have a chance to make a deep playoff run, said Wilson, who has played in 2 Super Bowls. I think the biggest thing for us is continuing to just take each week as the most important week of it all. I think it's not really even just the week. It's just the day. It's just the moments in between. I think the greatest teams, the greatest players in any sport, especially the teams I've been on, is the moment. It's never too far away. It's right here, right now. And you're just locked into that. Yeah, Russ, you might be right about that, man. You know, I like the old veteran sage, Russell Wilson, with some wise words right there, man. Steelers are 8-2 and certainly been locked in. They currently ride a 5-game win streak, most recently edging the Baltimore Ravens 18-16 on Sunday. Chris Boswell booted 6 field goals against Baltimore, while Wilson completed 23 of 36 passes for 205 yards and 1 interception. Meanwhile, Cleveland's 2-8, continues to go through the ringer, man. All right, the Browns ended up on the wrong side of a 35-14 blowout while facing the host New Orleans Saints on Sunday, marking their 7th loss in the past 8 games. Now, Cleveland now has to go up against one of the most unforgiving defenses in the league. The Browns quarterback Jameis Winston is determined to direct a fundamentally sound performance against Pittsburgh, which allows second fewest points per game in the NFL at 16.2. Now, it's precision passing, getting the ball out on time, elite operation, and just doing our job. It's the simple things, Winston said. This team, meaning the Steelers, is not going to try and fool you. They're going to line up and say, give us your best, we're going to give you our best. Winston threw for 395 yards and 2 touchdowns on 30 of 46 passes in the setback against New Orleans, with Jerry Jeudy hauling in 6 catches for 142 yards and a score. Star running back Nick Chubb continued to struggle since his return from knee injury that cut his season short last year. He only finished with 50 yards on 11 carries. All right, Cleveland coach Kevin Stefanski is looking forward to the challenge that Pittsburgh represents. Great challenge playing the Steelers on Thursday night, Stefanski said. Well-coached team, great players on offense, defense, and special teams. So we had to have a great week here to get ready for that game. The Browns could be without standout defensive end as well, Myles Garrett, who missed practice Tuesday because of a hip injury. Wide receiver Elijah Moore, guard Joel Bitonio, and cornerbacks Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome were all among limited participants in practice session this week so far. Linebacker Alex Smith is also dealing with that ankle injury, and he missed the Steelers practice on Tuesday. Cornerback Kobe Trice Jr., he also was a full participant. All right. So looking at these two teams, man, you got to understand what's been going on matchup-wise. All right, so Pittsburgh Steelers are coming in here averaging 23.3 points per game. That's 15th best in the NFL versus a Cleveland Browns defense who's given up 24.8 points. They're actually the 24th worst defense in the NFL as far as opponents' points per game, guys. All right, yards per play. Pittsburgh only averages 5 yards per play. That's 24th in the NFL. And Cleveland, they're the 27th worst team in the NFL. They give up 5.8. Now, on third down is where Cleveland actually stands a chance because they can probably get them off the field because their defense holds to opposing offenses to only converting 33.07% of the time on third down. That's number 5 in the NFL. Versus a Pittsburgh offense who struggles to convert, man. They're middle of the pack. They only convert 38.3% of the time. Then when you look in the red zone, they're literally one of the worst red zone scoring teams in the NFL, man. Pittsburgh only scored a touchdown 44.4% of the time. That's 30th in the NFL, and they only average 2.1 touchdowns a game as an offense. That's 23rd in the NFL, guys. And when you're looking at Cleveland, though, Cleveland does allow you to check that box because they're 24th worst defense in the NFL, allowing 63.33% of the time for opposing teams to actually check that box and score a touchdown, while also giving up 3 touchdowns a game to opposing offenses. That's 24th and 25th in the NFL, man. Cleveland's only chance is to stand up on third down because everything else it hasn't been locked in. All right, and then when you're talking about on Cleveland on offense, man, they're the 31st worst ranked offense in the NFL. They're only scoring 16.2 points per game, and they're going against the number 2 defense in the NFL who only gives up 16.2 points per game, man. So it ain't going to be too many points scored by Cleveland, period. Not in this rivalry, not in this slobber knocker, not in this game. Okay, Cleveland on offense, they only average 4.4 yards per play. That's the worst offense in the NFL as far as yards per play is concerned, whereas Pittsburgh's defense is allowing 5.2 yards per play, which is the 10th best. Then on third down, man, they ain't letting you convert. Third down, Cleveland's on 28.17% of the time they convert their third downs. That's the worst offense in the NFL on third down, and they're going against the 9th best defense on third down, who only allows you to convert 34.96% of the time. And then red zone, when you get in the red zone, man, Cleveland scores 52.94% of the time. They check that box with a touchdown. That's 23rd in the NFL. And then they also get 1.7 touchdowns a game. That's 29th worst in the NFL. And they're going against a defense, man, who does not allow it. They ain't giving it up. Now, Pittsburgh does allow teams to score touchdowns once they reach the red zone 48.28% of the time, but they only allow 1.7 touchdowns a game. So that's the 8th best defense in the red zone and the 3rd best defense as far as touchdowns allowed per game, man. Will Pittsburgh be able to run the ball? Slight chance, okay? Because full game, Pittsburgh averages 136.7 yards per game, and Cleveland's defense full game, man, they give up 131.7. Now, as far as individual rush, it'll shake out evenly because it's 4.0 to 4.8, but at the end of the day, man, they give it up on the ground. They give up 1.4 touchdowns a game. That's 29th worst in the NFL, guys. And then Cleveland ain't been able to run the ball all season. They only average 88.5 yards per game, and they're going against, and that's 29th in the NFL. They're going against the number 4 total running defense in the NFL, man. They only give up 90.8 yards per game, 4.1 yards per rush, guys. So they ain't going to be able to run the ball. What about passing it, right? Well, Pittsburgh's middle of the pack. They average 7.3 yards per pass attempt. That's 16th in the NFL. And they're going against a defense that gives up 7.8 yards per pass attempt. That's 29th in the NFL, guys. All right. Now, the thing Cleveland does do is they get to the quarterback. They get to the quarterback and sack the quarterback 8.72% of the time. That's 5th best in the NFL. And Pittsburgh, they allow you to sack the quarterback 9% of the time. That's the 27th and worst in the NFL, guys. Now, remember, there are a lot of Justin Fields in there. And, of course, Russell Wilson does take sacks sometimes, too. All right, now, when you're looking at the other end, Cleveland ain't going to be able to move the ball, man. They're only averaging 5.9 yards per pass. That's 31st worst in the NFL. But like I said, you got to take that with a grain of salt. They do have Jameson now versus Deshaun Watson, but at the end of the day, you are who you are, guys. They also allow teams to sack their quarterback 10.65% of the time. That's 31st worst. Thing is, though, Pittsburgh really only sacks the quarterback 6.65% of the time. That's 20th. But Pittsburgh gets to the quarterback in 2 seconds. Like, they are literally one of the fastest defenses in the NFL as far as how fast they get to the quarterback to put the pressure on the quarterback. So the quarterbacks have to get rid of the ball. All right, now, When you're looking as far as last three games, Pittsburgh scoring 24 points per game and giving up 20.3 points per game. So that's on average of last three games, it's been 44.3 points per game. And then Cleveland gives up 17.7. I mean, they score 17.7, but they only give up 28.7, guys. So once again, that's over 40 as well, right? But then let's look in the situation. Situation on the road, Pittsburgh, they average 23 points per game and give up 16.6 points per game, whereas it's almost the exact opposite, man. With Cleveland at home, Cleveland scores 17 points and gives up 25.7 points. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, that's definitely leaning towards, for me, an under, man. That's why it says 36 and a half. That's why that line is so low, guys. All right, now situationally, on the season, Pittsburgh's 8-2 straight up, and Cleveland's 2-8. And as far as on the road, Pittsburgh's 4-1, Cleveland is 1-4 at home, and then as away favorite, Pittsburgh is 2-1, and as a home underdog, Cleveland's 1-2. All right, so against the spread, Pittsburgh is 8-2 again on the season as well, and Cleveland is 3-7 against the spread. At home, Cleveland is 2-3, and Pittsburgh is 4-1 against the spread. And as an away favorite, Pittsburgh, of course, still remains 2-1, and as a home underdog, Cleveland is 1-2. All right, now when we look over here at over-unders, it's been 5 to the over, 5 to the under for Pittsburgh, and it's been 4 to the over, 6 to the under for Cleveland. On the road, Pittsburgh does score a little bit more. They're 3 to the over, 2 to the under, and at home, it's been 2 to the over, 3 to the under for Cleveland. As home underdogs, it's been 1 over and 2 unders, and as away favorites, it's been 2 overs and 1 under for Pittsburgh, guys. All right. Now we got to take another quick look at this one last thing, guys, and then we'll bang on out of here, right? So on the season, right, those last three games Pittsburgh played against was against Baltimore, Washington, and New York. Of course, we know they're on a 3-game win streak and a 3-game cover streak on that. They're actually on a full 5-game cover streak. Last time they didn't cover was against Dallas at home. All right. And as far as over-under is concerned, for the last 3 games, it's been 2 overs and 1 under. But prior to this last game that went under against Baltimore, they were literally on a 4-game over streak. Pittsburgh's next opponents is Cincinnati Bengals, Cleveland Browns, and Philly. So there is a slight look-ahead spot because they are just now getting into tournament play, or not tournament play, but just not getting into divisional round play, guys, where they're finally playing some of the people in their division. All right, now let's go ahead and let's take a look at Pittsburgh. So Cleveland. Cleveland is, of course, we all know they're 3-7 against the spread, and it's 4 to the over, 6 to the under, and 2-8 straight up, right? But their next 3 games, guys, are against Denver, Pittsburgh, and Kansas City. So, even though this Cleveland, they can't afford to look ahead, but they got some murderous roads. They might not win another game. For real, they might not win another game, guys. All right, the last 3 games they did play was against New Orleans, Chargers, and Baltimore. They did beat Baltimore 29-24, but they are on a 2-game losing streak, as we spoke on before. And out of those last 3 games, it's been 2 overs and 1 under, guys. All right, so head-to-head, though, this is where it gets interesting. Head-to-head, Pittsburgh does run at 6-4. Against the spread, they are 7-3, Pittsburgh. And it's been 5 to the over, 5 to the under in the last 10 times these two teams have played. Last season, they did split. Okay, Pittsburgh 1-1, Cleveland 1-1. Season before that, they split. Pittsburgh 1-1, Cleveland 1-1. Last time Pittsburgh 1-2 was back in 2021-2022 season. All right. Last time the over-under was this low was just last year. It went under the 34.5 in that 13-10, and then it went over the 39 in the game before that. That was in Pittsburgh, guys. All right. So looking at these two teams, you also got to understand some of the trends before you make a current decision, right? So the Pittsburgh Steelers have covered the second half spread in 13 of their last 16 games, whereas the Cleveland Browns have hit the first half game total over in 14 of their last 22 games. Pittsburgh Steelers have also hit the third quarter money line in 12 of their last 19 games, and the Cleveland Browns have scored first in 4 of their last 7 games. Cleveland Browns also have hit the fourth quarter money line in 5 of their last 9 home games at home, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have hit the fourth quarter money line in 11 of their last 19 games. Cleveland Browns also have hit the third quarter game total over in 12 of their last 19 games, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have covered the third quarter spread in 13 of their last 19 games, guys. All right, so listen. We all know the Pittsburgh Steelers have won 4 of their last 5 road games. Russell Wilson's completing 60.3% of his passes for 942 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. George Pickens and Pat Freiermuth have combined for 1,023 yards, 5 touchdowns, while Calvin Austin has 17 receptions. All right, and Cleveland has lost to the Chargers and the Saints, and they play the Broncos next. Like I told you, the Cleveland Browns have lost 4 of their last 5 home games, guys. Jameis Winston's completing 61.4% of his passes for 1,047 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Jerry Jeudy and David Njoku have combined for 896 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns, while Elijah Moore, he has 39 receptions, guys. All right, so the Pittsburgh Steelers have won each of their last 8 games as road favorites following a division game. The Browns also have lost 7 of their last 8 games. The Steelers have covered the spread in 8 of their last 9 games against AFC North opponents. The Browns have failed to cover the spread in 14 of their last 16 November games as underdogs against AFC opponents, and the Browns have lost the first quarter in 4 of their last 5 games following a road loss. The Browns also have lost the first half in each of their last 7 November games as underdogs against AFC opponents. Now, the Steelers have scored the first touchdown in 8 of their last 9 games as favorites following a home win, guys. All right. So, at the end of the day, man, Cleveland Browns are coming off back-to-back blowout losses, and there's just not enough on offense to compete. The Browns have scored 18 or fewer points in 9 of their last 10 games, and are 27th in total offense and 31st in scoring offense. I doubt the Browns find their offensive success in this one against one of the best Steelers, one of the best defenses in the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers are also 8-2 against the spread this season, so they're tied with the Lions as the most profitable team in the NFL. I'm not a fan of this because the Vegas line is telling me right now to take the Cleveland Browns. Okay, that's what that line's telling me. There's no reason why it should be the 3.5 with the current state of this team. I understand that this is a rivalry, but that's why, it's 3.5. It's because it's a rivalry, but still, man, 3.5 points. Pittsburgh should be giving these boys at least 6. All right, so and the over/under at 36.5. Yeah, it's definitely going under. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, man. I gotta give it to you guys, and it's nasty, it's dirty, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna be disgusting, but you gotta take what Vegas gives you and tells you. And when the line is like this low and it's set like this, it can only be the Browns plus the 3.5 and the under 36.5, guys. I might buy it up to under 40 just to be clear, or under like 39 or something like that, so I feel a little bit better. But yeah, that Browns plus 3.5, that's got to be the way, man. It's got to be the move. That's what the line is telling me. My heart's telling me the Steelers, so I might take Steelers money line, Cleveland plus 3.5. Might buy a couple points if I do a same game parlay and put it up to like 4.5 points, or 5 points, and then under the 36.5. Might buy a couple points there too, as I said, to do the same game parlay. But I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. I hope this information helps. Please like, share, subscribe. Thank you for tuning in, and y'all have a blessed day. Stay safe, man. I'll see y'all at the window. Peace.